So the day has finally come. Spare, Prince Harry's memoir is finally here. Written by Prince Harry. I mean, who else could have done a better job of writing Prince Harry's own memoir than Prince Harry?
It's 1,000 monkeys working at 1,000 typewriters.
Or so Penguin Random House thought initially.
It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. You stupid monkey.
But being the shrewd, business-savvy publishers that they are, Penguin Random House quickly realised the error of their ways.
Why did we spend $20 million on marketing?
Turns out writing a 500-page work of fiction, essentially, is no mean feat. So they got someone else to help him.
We're tired of waiting. We're hiring you a ghostwriter.
So what I've decided to do in this video is take a look at a chapter that I think kind of illustrates the whole tone of the book. Chapter 29 from the third part of the book. It's really long. It's like 500 pages long, this book. I'm going to take a look at chapter 29 from the third part, which kind of gives you a really good idea of just how entitled and grandiose these two megalomaniacs are. And obviously I've got to be careful. I can't directly quote the book, right? I can't play the audible clip. I would recommend, if you want to listen to or read the book, go to Audible. Prince Harry reads the whole fucking thing, and you can listen to it in his whiny, simpering, quivering voice, and it kind of makes it all more hilarious than it already is. Anyway, chapter 29 on the third part, if you want to follow along, right? Because this is absolutely brilliant. It's wonderful. Because not only have you got Harry's shit stories about how great he is and how horrible the world is to him and his wife, but it's written in the flowery, pretentious, stupid language of the ghostwriter J.R. Moehringer, the Pulitzer Prize winning author, novelist, appropriately, because this is a novel. Anyway, the context for chapter 29 in the third part is he's referring to what the Sun did to Meghan Markle. They ran a story in 2016 about how she had done porn, basically, and it was a lie. It was a complete lie, but it was a stupid lie. Yes, it's disgusting malpractice on the part of the journalists that work at the Sun, but it's the Sun. I mean, you know. They ran a story about how there's videos of her on Pornhub. There were videos of her on Pornhub, but they were clips taken from the series she did, Suits. So they're essentially just the scenes, the hot scenes. I'll try not to say any words like that. They're just the hot scenes from Suits that some weirdo had put on Pornhub. You know, well, not some weirdo. No, they're trying to get clicks, right? Because they want to say, oh, look, Meghan Markle in a scene, right? And it's just a silly clip from Suits. And of course, the Sun, being the sensationalist clickbaiters that they are and have been for decades, they knew how to capitalize on that, and they ran a story about it. You know, so it's all just the same as basically what I'm doing here. Except I'm just saying what I'm seeing. Except I'm not clickbaiting. I'm not, right? I don't care about your clicks and views. No, it's not. That's not what I'm doing. The reason I've been making videos for months about Meghan and Harry is purely, it's vocational, right? So shut up. Anyway, so this is the context for chapter 29, and part 3 of this masterpiece, this novelistic masterpiece by Prince Harry / J.R. Moehringer, right? So that's the context. And he says, the Sun ran a correction of the story, right? And he says it was just a tiny box on page 2 where no one would see it. And this is how he whines to his family about it. He whines at them, and he can't understand why they don't have loads and loads of sympathy for him. And he goes, the damage had already been done. It didn't matter that they wrote a correction story. I would argue, like, as a private citizen, if something like this happened to me, it would be dreadful, right? Someone talking about my wife in a rag newspaper tabloid like the Sun, it would be devastating. But I think you have to put it in context. Let me just remind you, I mean, for those of you who are not familiar with porn websites, saying that like I'm some kind of connoisseur. There are a lot of sort of clickbaity rubbish things about celebrities on there. All of the women that are mildly attractive or in the public eye, there's fake videos. There's deep fakes where they'll sort of put their face onto a porn actress's face and pretend it's them. There's scenes from films where they say, oh, it's a porn film, but it's not. It's just a normal scene from a normal film. It's... I think you have to bear in mind that only a complete bloody moron would think that Meghan had done that. I mean, it was demonstrably false. Do you know what I mean? It's not right. I'm not on the Sun's side. They're pathetic for running that story and not even bothering to investigate because they don't care. All they want is to sensationalize everything. But that's them. They're just parasites in society. They live off that kind of sensationalist, whipping up emotional reactions from people. And you'd think that in his mid-30s he'd have understood this by now, I don't know. Anyways, he says the damage had been done. Plus it cost Meghan tens of thousands of pounds, Well, yeah. But the good thing, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but in the UK, if they make allegations, if the press make allegations about someone, or if a private citizen makes allegations about someone, and they can't back it up, they don't have any evidence, you can sue them. So yeah, it cost her tens of thousands, but I'd like to see how much they had to pay her. And it's not like she didn't have tens of thousands at her disposal, right? And he says he rang Charles, right? I rang Pa yet again. And his dad just says, oh, don't read it, Don't read it, Harry. Don't read it, Harold. Yeah, that's the stoic, stiff upper lip response. Just don't. Just leave it. It's not a big deal. He put the phone down on his father. He says, I cut him off. I wasn't about to hear that nonsense again. You're in your mid-30s. He's got a lifetime of going through this. He's gone through it with Diana, he's gone through it with Camilla, and he's just saying, look, calm down. Take things... You have to have a stoic response to this. You don't like it, you can hate the journalists that do that kind of thing, you can try and get your own back, you can go and try and get your truth out there, well, you can't react. What you can't do is just react super emotionally to every bullshit story that comes out in the tabloids. I know I'm saying this without having gone through it myself, but it's just obvious from the outside looking in that that's how you deal with it, and that's the royal family's response, and it has been their response forever, right? You keep quiet and you just don't respond to it. You don't rise to it. You're above that. You're not at the Sun's level, and people will respect you more if you don't rise to it. You're just like, okay, well, that's not. I would go as far to say that in normal everyday life, when you've got people lying about you, I don't know if this has happened to you in your life, where someone's lying to you constantly. You do meet people like this, narcissists, that will just go around making up shit about you. And I think a lot of the time, silence is a good tactic. Not 100% of the time, but if you're seen to be reacting and saying similar things about that person, because a lot of the time with narcissists, what I find is that they believe the person they're attacking is like them. And so, I don't know if it's women, and it often is women. And this is a thing that Jordan Peterson goes on about, right? That if a woman can engage in reputation destruction, whereas a man can only do that to a certain point before he gets smashed in the face, right? A woman can just keep doing it because no one's going to smash her in the face, right? Most of the time. And so, if, say, a woman is going around accusing another woman of, I don't know, sleeping with loads of men, and it turns out that the woman who's saying that is the one who's actually doing all of those things. Right? Maybe the best response isn't to go around saying to all the same people after she said that about you, the best response isn't to go and tell the truth, necessarily. The best response might be to just let things play out, right? Just sort of react like, oh, well, no, that's nonsense. I can prove that's nonsense because, if the subject comes up, if it's absolutely necessary, maybe you say something. I don't know, but it's absolutely ridiculous to be getting furious, getting wound up by a stupid story in The Sun, which was completely baseless, completely unfounded. And he's reacting like this and bothering all of his family. And I'm going to get into it. He's ringing them all up and saying how he doesn't understand how they're not all angry about it. So he cut off his dad. He put the phone down on him. He said, I wasn't a boy anymore. Right? The thing is, yes, you are. You're behaving like a little boy. You know, someone said something nasty about you and you're ringing your aged father up. And saying, why aren't you angry about this? Oh, they've written a story about me. And he's saying, look, just don't worry. And you slam the phone down on him. You're behaving just like a little boy. You are a boy. You're a man-child. And so he said I reminded Pa that they were the same shoddy bastards who'd been portraying him as a clown all of his life, ridiculing him for sounding the alarm about climate change. Yeah. I mean, Charles is a bit of a clown sometimes. I find it a little bit irritating when these extremely privileged people, like Prince Charles, whine on about climate change, because let's face it, they've used more private jets than me, and I don't want to eat bugs and live in a pod when you live in a fucking palace. So, fuck you, Prince Charles, for that. But having said all that, I think he's well-intentioned. I don't think Prince Charles knows how much of a bubble he lives in. I think he genuinely believes what he's saying is right. So, I guess I can give him a bit of a pass for that. I think he's... But portraying him as a clown, I don't have a problem with that. I think we need to be able to ridicule people. And this is another thing as well. Calling someone a clown, what is it? They can't do that. They can't disagree with you. What delusions of grandeur do you have? What level of... I don't know, he has like a God complex. And this comes across, by the way, in other extracts that I'm going to look at in the book. He says that people comparing his mother, Diana, to a goddess, to Nelson Mandela, to Mother Teresa. He says all of that is wide of the mark. She's more than that. He says she's like eternal light. She's omnipresent. And it's just insane. He's got a lot of problems. See, the thing with Prince Harry, I don't know if he's got a lot of problems, because I think people are overcomplicating their analysis of him. They're saying that he's got a mummy complex. Oh, he's got an ego problem. Oh, he's got he's got PTSD. Oh, he's on drugs. I don't think any of that is true. I think he's a bit simple. He's very immature, and he's a bit narcissistic. I think he has a tendency towards narcissism, which has been exacerbated by the person he's decided to shack up with. I think it's that. I don't think it's anything else. Anyway, so yeah, he's saying to his dad, don't you understand, Dad, that they're attacking my wife and you should be really angry about this. He's in his 70s, mate. He doesn't care. He's been through it. He's had enough. He's saying, look, I've experienced this all my life. Just rise above it. That's what he's saying to you, with the lifetime of experience of all the shit he's been through, his wife, his ex-wife, he's trying to pass on his wisdom to you, you daft twat. But anyway, there were these were his tormentors, his bullies, and now they were tormenting and bullying his son and his son's girlfriend. Son's girlfriend. I've got to think. I don't know. Am I going too far? I feel like there's a problem when you're in your 30s and you're talking about my father, I'm your son, it's my girlfriend. It's like, that sounds like a teenager. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's like, I don't know, that appeal to, you're all adults now. You're not a child that needs protecting. You're in your mid-30s. This was in his mid-30s. This was 2017 when this conversation took place. You're in your mid-30s. You don't need Papa to look after you. And he's, you know, or was approaching 70, I guess, and he didn't have time for it. You know, he's got his own problems to deal with. Not to mention, you know, his aging parents who are in their 90s, you know, and there's just bigger concerns than the son writing some stupid story. Why have I got to beg you, Pa? Why is this not already a priority for you? Why is this not causing you anguish, keeping you up at night? That the press are treating Meg like this. So it's like he's trying to stress his dad. He's trying to make him angry about nothing, really. About something that you should be really disgusted about, but that you should just rise above. And his father, quite rightly in my opinion, is just trying to get his son to calm down and trying to let it blow over this non-story which they'd already corrected. And yet Harry was still going on about it. Remember the first line of this chapter, the son ran a correction story. They corrected themselves. So it's like, okay, well, we can move on now, can't we? I don't know. He continues to bother his father. You said she was funny, she was witty, you loved her, all of this. It's like, you're a liar, you know? He's like saying, you're supposed to look after us. No, he's not. No, he's not. Look after yourselves. You're big boys and girls now. Very big. Meghan would have been, this is 2017, 5 years ago, she would have been 36. You know, I'm not running to my parents to ask them to protect me from the sun. You know? I've never asked my parents to protect me from the sun. The newspaper, you know. I couldn't get a straight answer. The conversation went in circles. When I hung up, I felt abandoned. It didn't go in circles, mate. It's you're not listening to him. He's saying, don't worry, calm down. That's not going in circles. It's just that the same response is valid every time. And then he says that Meghan reached out to Camilla. And, you know, she said the same thing to Meghan. She said that the press always do this with the new girl, with the new member of the family. And that the same thing happens here. This is a woman, again, approaching 70, who was saying, look, I've been through this. It lasted decades. Camilla was trashed by the press for decades for being the other woman in the marriage, right? And Diana had to, you know, we all make mistakes, right? I don't know if Camilla's a good person, a bad person. All I do know is that she's managed to change public opinion of her with her, again, I would say, stoicism. This knowing how to be there. Just knowing how to be in public life, acknowledge all of your privileges, and just, if you want in the royal family, I would argue that, yeah, you just have to be a bit humble. It's like, what was it, like the Babylonian kings Jordan Peterson was talking about. They used to take them outside the walls of the city once a year and strip them naked or something like that. And I think we should do that. No, but I think it's about having humility. You have to accept that there's going to be public criticism, and that they're going to meticulously analyze everything that you do if you're a member of the royal family. And if you don't like it, get out. Fuck off, right? It's not nice. I understand it's not nice. And I could sympathise with them, as I've said a billion times before, if they just left. And they're like, we're done. Get out of here. And this is actually a solution that Camilla suggested to them. She said to Meg that she suggested to Meg that I become the Governor General of Bermuda, which would solve all our problems by removing us from the red hot centre of the maelstrom. Right? That's it. You know. But the funny thing is, she's right. That would be a solution. Go to Bermuda, and you don't have to do stuff here because you've got a job in Bermuda, and you can just live your private life with all the privileges, all the homes, all the money, all the status, all the titles, all of that, and you don't need to worry because the press aren't going to bother you so much over in Bermuda, are they? So she suggested that, and he says, that she said it would take them out of the centre of the maelstrom. It would take them away from all of the madness of the press. And she's right. No? Surely she's right. That's a nice idea, I guess. It's an idea. Brainstorming ideas, that's one way you can do it. If you're unhappy with all the stories, if you really can't take it, like Camilla must have been internally thinking, fuck me, you've been here for a couple of months. I've been here 40 years putting up with this shit, But yeah, she suggested that, and then, right, I thought, and one added bonus of that plan would be to get us out of the picture. He's never happy with anything, Imagine, right, you go to your parents and you say, look, I've got this really big problem, like somebody's giving me a load of hassle. The press are hounding me. I don't know, I've got this big problem and, my life's not really happy here. And they say, well, you could become the Governor General of Bermuda if you feel like it. You privileged twat. Do you understand how ridiculous you sound? Nobody has ever suggested to me that I become the Governor General of Bermuda or of any other island. I'm not even the Governor General of my house. I know you know what that's like, eh, Harry? Jesus, yeah, maybe you could have controlled something for once. So even when Camilla gives him that solution, he's not happy with that. No, Governor General of Bermuda, you just want to get rid of us, don't you? You want to bump us off. You're not going to stop till we're dead. So then, not content with bothering his aged father and his aged wife, in desperation I went to Willie. William gets an absolute battering in this book. He tries his hardest to make him sound like a piece of shit. And he doesn't succeed, because every time he describes an interaction with William, Harry sounds like the idiot. He sounds like the dick. He says in desperation he went to him, and they went on the 20th anniversary of their mother's death in 2017. He said, we rowed the little boat out to the island, right? To the island. Is she buried on an island? I think she's buried on an island, isn't she? I don't know. The bridge had been removed for privacy, blah, blah, blah. They're there. They're putting the flowers down. They're not talking to each other. But then Harry starts to talk to him about what's happened with Meghan. Right there, when they're laying flowers on their mother's grave, he's like, well, did you know that they read a story in The Sun about Meghan doing porn? And so William's just so like, stiff upper lip, wanting to smash his brother's face in, I bet. And this is a great little interaction. Again, he wants to make William sound like the bad guy, but he comes across as a narcissistic piece of shit, as always, because that's what he is. He says, so William just turns to him while he's sat, standing there thinking about his dead mother. It's been 10 years, he's trying to contemplate, he's trying to, get his thoughts together. He says, don't worry, Harold, no one believes that shit. Right? He's saying, just like his father did, just like Camilla tried to do, just trying to console him. Don't worry, nobody cares. All right, let's get back to I want to empty my head of all those stupid thoughts. Harry responded, not true. They do. It's drip-fed to them, and they start to believe it, right? He's saying that, your brother's trying to shut you up because he doesn't want to think about that right now while you're contemplating life and death and laying flowers on your mother's grave. And you can't fucking help yourself. It always has to be about you. This whole book is an envy piece against his older brother. The fact that it's called Spare, the fact that there is a suggestion that the only reason he's alive is to be like an organ donor to William. No, he's your brother, he was born first, then you were born, and they were all happy about that too. You know? It's just bizarre. He's desperate to be the centre of attention at all times. That's just the way it works. I'm sorry, he's the heir, right? And the fact that you're born second means, yeah, you're not first in line to the throne. Sorry. I don't know where I am. You know, how should I feel? I must be about a millionth in line. Joint millionth. There's probably, 100,000 others that are a millionth in line. What? How can you complain about this privilege? Look at the solutions. You know, think about it like this. You're a millionaire, but you'll never have to be king. You've got palaces all over the world. Become the Governor General of Bermuda, why don't you? You know, there you go. That's an easy life. Right, yeah, because you want to get me out of the house and turn my room into a studio. Or whatever Camilla turned it into. God, Camilla gets a right bashing in this book. Constantly. It's all passive aggression though, because there's nothing really there to attack. He can't. There's nothing. She never actually does anything bad to him, so he can't really. So it's just like, she turned my bedroom into a studio, bitch. Pathetic. It's bloody pathetic. Anyway, so he says, not true. They do believe the story. Wow, I nearly smashed my computer even more. He didn't have a satisfying answer to that, and so we're silent. So William, again, trying to just avoid that conversation, just stood there in silence, like, okay, William, you can get through this. Just pretend he's not there, you know. And then he said something extraordinary. He said, William said he thought that Mummy was here. So he's just trying to change the conversation, divert their attention back to their dead mother. Say, I think Mummy's with us. You know? He's trying to have a moment with Harry where he stops obsessing about himself, right? And Harry goes, yeah, me too, right? And he says, I think she's been with me my whole life, Harold. You know, guiding me, setting things up for me. And I think she helped me start a family. And I think she's helping you as well now. And this is an amazing response by Harry. And then by William. He goes, I nodded, totally agree. I feel as though she helped me find Meg. That was not the point. I think William was being very subtle, very British, saying, you know, I think all the trouble you're having with your wife, perhaps Mummy's trying to tell you something? And he's like, yes, she helped me find Meghan. You fucking... William took a step back and said, well, he looked concerned. That seems to be taking things a bit too far. Well now, Harold, I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't say that. This is a really good summary of the whole book, this chapter right here. It's absolute self-aggrandizing, moral grandstanding, holier-than-thou. I am great, you are shite, my life's awful, you can't understand my pain, wallowing in self-pity, flowery, pretentious language from the Pulitzer-prizing novelist Anus who wrote it. And I'm out of here. I'm going to find some more extracts to not say out loud directly, but paraphrase, which is what I've done. Did you hear that algorithm? That's what I've done the whole time today. And I'll see you in the next one. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll leave comments. I don't know. I need to know. I need to know what's going on. Are you? Yeah. See you in the next one.